And welcome everybody. This is your host, Learvok, and you are just in time for a new Let's Play. We're Let's Playing none other than Myst. Specifically the 2020/2021 version. Now many of you might be wondering, Learvok, what the hell is Myst? And why is there so many versions where I go to look this up? Because at this point, I believe there are... Let's see, 1, 2, 3... I believe this is the 5th version of the game that's been made. Yeah, 5 versions of a game. That should tell you it's something special, right? Myst originally started off as a I believe it was 93 or 96 was when the game first came out. Point-and-click adventure game. It was one of the most... It was actually the best-selling video game until, I believe, 2003 when it was surpassed by The Sims. Yeah, there's a reason there's been 5 versions of this one game, and yet you only have one version of the 4 sequels. 4 or 5 sequels that there are of it. But yeah, this is a game I've been playing since I was a kid. Like I originally got this game when I was like 7. I got it at a book fair of all places. Which, I mean, I guess makes sense because books are heavily featured in this game. They play a large role in it. We're playing the 2020/2021 version, as I like to call it, because it technically had 2 release dates. The 2020 year is for the VR version, 21 is for the flat screen version, which obviously we're going to be playing here, because I can't afford a VR system. We're playing this for a load of different reasons. One of the main reasons being, in the audio here, or display, here we go, yeah. Gameplay context subtitles. This is going to be important for a few of the puzzles that are a little more trickier to deal with because they're sound-based. So yeah, it's going to be worth it for that. We're also going to be playing with the classic video mode. Few of the scenes in the original game, in the original game, all the scenes were done with full motion video. It's what you had to do back then to make it look good. So that real actors on what was presumed to be a green screen, and then they superimposed them onto the gameplay. It was really the only way you could get them on here, on these games at the time. Nowadays they use like CG models and stuff like that, and the CG models, to me, just don't look as good, and the audio and stuff for them just don't work as well, because there's certain, there's only 3 characters in the entire game, and I feel like it's probably just me and my own bias. I feel like it's a bit, they're iconic characters. So yeah, we're going to start a new game. We're going to do the classic solutions. Another reason to get this game over the Real Myst version is to get randomized solutions, but at the same time, Real Myst, and we'll get into this later on in a later episode, probably a bonus episode, I'll show off the difference between this and Real Myst, which is the other 3D version of the game that lets you explore the island. But yeah, we'll go ahead and play with the classic solutions. Yeah, right away they let you look around and not much else.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile. Still, the questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
That's classic right there. So yeah, as I said, this game was made originally for VR, so there's been a lot of concessions to accommodate for VR players. A lot of which being having them look down as little as possible. While most of the puzzles are original to the game, are about as one-to-one to the original game as possible. They have been changed visually to accommodate for not having to look, straight down or stuff. I have my own opinions on that, and I feel like we'll probably get into that eventually, but for now, let's go ahead and open up the Myst book and listen to that classic music. So yes, in the world of Myst, or worlds rather, there are what's called linking books. These are books written with an ancient, and we don't find this out in this game. This is all stuff we'll find out in later games. But using linking books, using an ancient writing method called the art. Each of these linking books have a picture on them that you can touch and send yourself to that world. So let's do that and head on to our adventure proper. I didn't know the image actually resets after a while. I just noticed that as soon as I clicked it. So yeah, like I said, this is a point and click. This was originally a point and click adventure, so imagine a lot of clicking for everything. WASD moves you around like you would. It's basically for first person controls. One of the differences between this and Real Myst is in Real Myst you could click doors to open them. Almost everything's relegated to a button or a switch of some sort. Which is fine for most of the puzzles because most of the puzzles already had buttons and switches. But yeah, so anyway, let's go around and kind of check out where we're at. So yeah, we have a sunken ship, very oddly sunken too. Like it's like placed down. It's not like it's broken half or flipped one side or the other. It's perfectly flat in conjunction with the island. We have a lookout over here with a gear on top, so that's interesting. Looks like an observatory sort of thing. A big tower up here in the middle. Congress. Some pillars back there. Some trees. Hashtag not enough trees. And we have this bunker here that we landed right next to. So yeah, we entered presumably the island of Myst. Not a whole lot of mist around here. That's kind of one thing that's kind of missed from the original games is the lack it did bring the fog of Myst did bring some charm to it. So you're in this kind of bunker as we entered. This is interesting. So we have a button here we can push, which looks like it just turned off whatever this was. We got some waves here. Let's see, settings for dimensional imager. So I'm assuming that's what this is. I'm not assuming. I know that's what it is. When I say I'm assuming, it's part of the act. I'm not an actor. let me restart that scene. I wonder what this is. Some sort of imager. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, just roll with it. So we click on here to access the panel, so we can kind of push and interact with buttons left and right. So yeah, clearly this is a button of some sort. We have some numbers to put in here. Topographical extrusion test, marker diagram, switch diagram, and water turbulent pool. We can probably assume what we just saw there was a water turbulent pool. So let's go ahead and push the button, and right here we have a dial that we can kind of move stuff to different numbers. And let's see what happens if we put stuff, say an arbitrary number like 56. Okay. Anything happen? Nope. So we must have to put in the right number. So if we put it back to 67, when we push the button, yep, that's the water turbulence test that we saw. Okay, so let's see here. We'll go down to, what was it, 47? Yeah, unfortunately we can't really check the thing again without either pushing the button or... Oh no, it doesn't even work that way. So we just have to randomly put in a number sometimes. Okay, 47 for the marker switch diagram. Let's see here. Oh, okay. That kind of looks like that thing we saw out front at the end of the dock. So, and considering, let's look at this last thing, topographical extrusion test. Considering that everything else seems to have to do with nature of some sort, with water turbulence, the topical graph, we're probably going to assume this is going to be like some sort of, oh, well, it kind of looks like Myst Island without all the stuff on it. Interesting. So it seems like those considering we see the marker switch diagram, that seems like those things might be important. That thing we saw up there might be important. So let's go ahead and go through here. And we'll go ahead and turn this on. Nothing seemed to happen. Well, it is a marker, so maybe something was marked down. Okay, well, can't really go on this ship. We probably should explore the rest of the island while we're at it. So yeah, let's go to the next thing here. Let's go to this little lookout here with this gear. Got another marker. Fun fact, Real Myst in the original version, the marker is over here in this corner. I don't know why they moved it. It's not a big deal. It's one of those things like when you're so attached to a game, you kind of tend to notice tiny little differences like that. It's weird. Also, I think I think they put one extra gear on here. There's only in other versions. There's only one gear on the side. Again, not a big deal or anything. Not a deal breaker at all by any means. Just like a little. It's kind of neat to know what the difference is. Yeah, so there's not a whole lot. Got those two markers. Got, ooh. Huh, that's interesting. We got a thing around that tree. Huh. Well, we can't get to it. There's no jump button. In fact, if we try to hit space, this activates a camera. Which, I don't know how to turn the camera off without activating it. Actually, no, I might as well go and show you now. There we go. Photo added to our album. We can go to our photo album and just ignore all those images there. And there's our image that we took. This kind of helps us with keeping track of stuff so we don't have to keep track of everything. It just makes it a little easier. So yeah, so we got another marker switch here in front of this observatory. And if we push the button to open the door, we see not a dentist chair, which is what we would normally see. We see whatever. Yeah, so this was made as a concession for VR. It normally looks like kind of some sort of like dentist chair that you sit in, with the thing here kind of above, and you kind of sit, you lean back, and you kind of pull the device over you. Because this was made for VR, they had to make a few concessions. Though, granted, I would say still have you raise your head up a little, or have this kind of come up and down. Which, hold on. Oh no, okay, it's just gonna let me do that anyway. They also changed how this looked. Like everything on here was like on individual little levers that you just move up and down to switch between the dates. but instead they change it to just buttons here. You move the lever to whatever, push up and down to switch it. When you're on the areas over here, you hit left and right to move between the numbers. Same with down here. Now, these are, obviously from the look of here, we've got January, we've got a whole year's worth of dates. We can presume this is the same here. In fact, I'm going to check something out here. Oh, yeah, it automatically changes. Cool. It automatically changes the highest date. And these are years, so we can presume it goes from 0 to 9, 9, 9, 9, or just 4 nines, rather. And this is presumably time, because you got 23 0, so it's a 24-hour clock. Different from the original. In the original, this was an AM/PM clock system. This is important because one of the puzzles, obviously, as you can guess from this, it's the solution. The clue is the same exact clue in the main as it is in real Myst. So I hope you know how to convert your 12-hour system into a 24-hour system. It's gonna matter, trust me. So we're gonna just kind of switch to a random time, and we're gonna push the button here and see what happens. It kind of looks like we're looking at stars here, but it's difficult to tell. I don't know, maybe there's a way we can turn the light off. Got the buttons here, so we got a button on the inside here, so that's, but the door, unlike the bunker door, this door hasn't closed, which is something that's common in Myst, is the doors always close. So what if we closed it? So this is something I find really weird they did. It fades to black, and then it suddenly, like, dims. I don't know why they couldn't just dim it automatically. My instinct is to say, oh yeah, it looks like stars. And oh look, the whole thing up here is a starlight. It is an observatory. In fact, if we change the year, it changes here, and it also changes up here too, which is really cool. Oh, so cool. Yeah. That's something I believe Real Myst also does that. Like I said, I'm gonna be comparing this to both versions, mostly Real Myst because that's the one that is most closely. Real Myst is more or less one-to-one to the original version of the game, albeit instead of just being a point-and-click game, it's full 3D map. And we'll get to this note here in a second. Actually, we should probably have gotten to this note right now. Actually, one big difference: the note is originally the rock is not here. The note was on the ground. The reason that was like that is because this is about where you would see about here. This is what you would see in the game, in the original game, and the note would be on the ground. It'd stick out like a sore thumb. You'd click and see it. Again, they made the concession for VR because they don't want you having to look down at the floor the entire time, so they put it on a rock, which, granted, again, it's not a big deal. Keep in mind, every complaint I'm going to have with this game is not a big deal. Aside from the fact that there's no day-night cycle in this like in Real Myst, which, yeah, that's a bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. So we get the note here. Catherine, I've left for you a message of utmost importance in our forechamber beside the dock. That must be the bunker we saw earlier. Enter the number of marker switches on the island into the imager to retrieve the message. Yours, Atris. So yeah, we don't know who either of these characters are, Atris or Catherine. Are we Catherine? I mean, we're certainly not Atris. Certainly we're not Atris. Atris? I always have trouble saying his name. It's I believe it's I'm probably going to butcher the Dunny name. D''Ni. Again, later games cover that stuff, and that's like whole thing in its own right. But yeah, so he wants Catherine to enter the number of marker switches on the island into the imager. Well, we've already got 3, because we've got one up there, one up there, and one over here. There might be one in this library. I'm just going to go ahead and say, I'm going to tell you it's a library. Not much of a library. You got one small set of books, some pictures, 2 books over here, which, it's like interesting. And they got some pages we can touch. We'll be dealing with those later. We got an interesting map here with a little dial. That's interesting. The dial, the dial is positioned right where the tower. It almost looks like it is the tower, right? Like it could be. That looks like a dial. If we go to touch that dial, we're going to touch the tower in real life. This was a point-and-click adventure. Don't count out that could have been a solution. You had to turn. Don't count out that the solution could have been you had to turn the tower in order to turn the dial. Fortunately, one of the things that made Myst back in the day revolutionary wasn't the fact that it was a point-and-click adventure. That's been done hundreds of times before. But what they did with Myst was insanely clever. Unlike other point-and-click adventures where you had to find your way out of a room and you had a key and a shovel, and instead of using the key to unlock the door like you'd think, because the key of course doesn't work, you use the shovel, break it against something in the room, something arbitrary. We'll say an old computer monitor. Take the handle half with take the half of the shovel with just the stick, not the actual shovel piece, with the splinters in it. Jab that into the fire extinguisher that you swear to all known gods and religions was only there for show, and that would bust a hole, would make a loud pop noise. A dog from outside that you've never seen before would bark incessantly at a squirrel. The squirrel would rush down, grab its nuts, leave one behind for you to pick up, and then you would use that nut, and instead of using the nutcracker that's on the wall like you would expect to crack open the nut, instead you'd use the same fire extinguisher you just broke to get for some reason a ring inside this nut. Don't know why the ring's in there. And that ring you would put onto. Look. I'm trying real hard to improvise here a solution. This is stuff they would actually do back then. It was crazy. Like you'd go through so many convoluted things. Here in Myst, it's all logic. It's all got some sort of cohesion. Makes some sort of sense. And with that said, we're going to get back onto our topic here of exploring. So we got our next marker switch over here by the fountain, or as I like to call it, the fountain garden area, because it always looked like a garden to me with the flowers. The fountain here with another sunk ship here that kind of looks similar to the one over there. Kind of, if you squint, the crow's nest looks completely different. I swear, in the original version, they looked identical. Got some interesting switches here. Now, here's another problem I have with this. So, in the original, you saw what these images were right away. They were red when they were off, green when they were turned on. Now, on one hand, I do like the way these look. These got this kind of cool lights in them. But it came at the expense of not being able to see what this icon is when it's turned off. Which means, if you don't remember the solutions, if you don't remember what these are, you gotta turn them off, turn them on, turn them off, turn them on, until you get the right solution. It's a bit annoying in this version, but it's in the same. They're always in the same spot. Whether the game's randomized, these are always in the same spot, I believe. Which one's the right one? Which one's the one you have to hit is always going to be a different solution. But anyway, real quick, before we go any further, let's go to the rest of the island here. we have this little area that we climb a ladder on. Ladder climbing is automatic. We got a circuit breaker up here. Doesn't seem like we need to do anything with that, so we'll just climb back down. Actually, I want to see, can we turn that off, or is it... Nope, okay. Okay, yeah. Down here we have... Actually, yeah, it looks like a path to something. Clearly, that's clearly not going to be there. Interesting to have that path there, actually, that they kept that in there. I guess it makes sense, actually, because in the original, I think you could actually walk down here. Real Myst, obviously, you can walk down here, too, because, this gives you free reign of the island. Yeah. We'll move over here. We got this big spaceship. And now for a little bit of... another reason why I'm deciding to let's play this now is because I've been watching Proton John. I've been watching his streams for a few months now. And he started doing Myst with his wife, Lucajin. They did Myst, the original version, or the original Masterpiece version, because that's the version she's most familiar with. Even though I'd still argue, no, you can still do it with Real Myst, and Real Myst even gives the options of playing like the original. But whatever. They kept calling this a rocket penis, which, to quote a line from Community, "What the hell does your penis look like?" Yeah, because let's examine this here. Why this looks like, first of all, you got a sharp point at the end, which I believe is in the original model as well. I think the only difference in the original model is that it's like a little less metal looking, but just kind of graphics for the time. You got this weird bump up here at the top, so that's, probably gotta get that checked out. This weird bump over here. Even just ignoring the tail fins here, obviously, and just kind of like looking from this much onward. Yeah, you got this little bump on here on the back end, this bump up here on the top end, all these little bumps that mean. I was gonna make a ribs for her pleasure joke, but that's kind of I feel like that might have been going a little too far on that one. All I gotta say is you might want to get yourself checked up on. I mean, if yours looks like that, it's and also not to mention the coloring, like it's shimmering, it's shimmering, it's shining, like as if you got a bruise, and there's like some red rings around it, like. I mean, the red tip, like that's perfectly fine. That's normal. I mean, obviously. Oh god. Okay. Let's play done. The entire reason I wanted to do this was for the one joke. No. Honestly, the Myst is like one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, so obviously we can't enter this. There's a button here. Obviously, the original version, the button wasn't there. It just clearly had what looked like a door here, like basically looked the same. We have another marker switch that puts us at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marker switches, I believe. I have to do all this counting in my head. Also, one thing I want to mention. Not in the original Myst, but in Real Myst, there's a gravestone here. In Real Myst, it's just like a little marker, not an actual stone. I will say this, I do like the fact that this is a gravestone more than it just being a simple marker in Real Myst. Yeah. This is apparently a gravestone to a character in the series called Tiana, who is like Atreus' grandmother, and a character I think only exists in the books. Because yes, a game about reading books has its own book series. I believe I used to have the first book, which was the Book of Atreus. I think it's the first release. I don't know if it's... I know like the Book of Tiana is the actual first chronologically. And there's the Book of Atreus, and then I don't remember the third book. I tried reading it as a kid. Nope! They expected you to have a comprehensive reading level, and I was not about that. So we have 5 markers. We've already looked over here. let's see, we can go over here to this electrical shed, which as a kid I knew, for some reason I knew this was an electrical shed and not a storage shed. I don't know, because I don't even think I knew what an electrical shed was. So that's our 6th marker. So go ahead and go down here. By the way, if you want to run, just put shift to run. I think it's pretty obvious. Hit a button here to open the door, and you have some sort of, well, power plant. And some buttons here that seem to activate things. Okay, so obviously you got 1 here, 2 here. Okay, this would be 3. Oh no, it's 22, okay. We got 10 here, so this has to be 11, right? Nope, 7. 8. By the way, you might want to write these down. So yeah. Just as a heads up, I actually have a book of like everything written down that needs to be written down, like all the, like, everything, all my notes for this literally take up a single page front and back. Everything I need to know, everything that you technically would need to know, and oddly enough, from what I looked up, it's all also the randomized stuff, like stuff that would be randomized normally. In fact, actually, let me double check that. Yeah. I think everything except for 2 things. There are 2 things on my notes that are, I think, different. One thing I know for certain, and we'll get to that when we get to that, but one other thing I've been told. But yeah. I'll show that off closer to the end, because there's some cool stuff I've done with that. Like I did some extra stuff with like invisible ink. It's kind of like getting in this mood of things. I even went out and bought like an old timey looking book, like one of those like hardcover book, like sketchbooks to write all my notes in. Because originally I had them all in this is a spiral notebook, but like, it looks like the book. It looks like a Myst book. It looks like a book from the game. I even like got like little letters to put on it. But yeah, so we got 6 markers right now. We got 7 right now. And if you look over here, we got the tree that we saw earlier that was surrounded by the thing in this cabin. Which only thing here that we can open up. Only door that we can open up just by which makes me wonder why we couldn't do that with the others. With the other doors. It's so weird. So yeah. So we got this cabin here. It's kind of a folksy looking cabin. For some reason, this cabin always stuck out to me. And what's weird is that what it's connected to later on doesn't really make sense. But I mean, it still looks cool. It still has this kind of weird, folksy look to it. We got some sort of pressure cooker here, sort of thing. A picture of a tree, was surrounded by a brick wall. Hint. Let's see. We have this here, a safe, which, 1, 1, 1. Damn. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Damn. Okay, well, my master hacking skills are no good here, so I guess we have to actually find a clue for it, or find the solution somewhere. Wait, hold on, let me try one more. I got one more of me. One more master code. 2, 2, 6. There we go. Obviously, that's the code, right? Damn! Okay. Well, obviously that's unhackable, so we're gonna have to find a solution somewhere. It's not like we can guess. I mean, if it was randomized, you could feasibly put in 111, and theoretically, in one of the playthroughs, that would be the solution. But yeah, so obviously this is all connected to the tree outside. So let's go ahead and check the tree out. A perfectly innocuous tree. There's no holes whatsoever. And here's where we're kind of getting to a complaint I have with this. So in the original, one, you had this kind of bar around here. And two, the hole was much smaller. In fact, you wouldn't even know that this tree was clearly an elevator. Like, clearly it's going to be an elevator of some sort. It's going to, like... Because, like, we can't go down here ourselves, so obviously something has to bring us down. So this is going to be an elevator. Original and real Myst, you can't tell. It looks like it's a regular tree. And, like, the ground may look weird, but, like, you got, like, this bar around it, so you can't go around, which... Weird that they don't let you go around here. Despite the fact that bar's been removed. But whatever. So yeah, so we have 7 markers, and we have this clock island, this clock lighthouse over here with a marker we can't get to without solving a puzzle, which... So yeah. In the original, stay it with me here, this puzzle was a double valve puzzle. Where you had like a big valve and a little valve, and the big valve would control the big hand on the clock. The little valve would control the little hand, and yeah. Other than that, this more or less plays the same. Like it's like the way it turns and everything was the same. Like the big hand moved more one to one, where the little hand kind of had its own weird kind of synchronicity. But yeah, since we don't know the solution, just keep in mind that that's our 8th marker, and that looks to be the last marker we have. So we're going to go ahead and go into the imager. One quick thing, in real Myst, you could actually just quickly get down here, but just from walking down here, I don't know, you couldn't get up, but you could get down. I don't know why they took that out in this version. Also, in Real Myst, you could actually walk around here, but I understand. I know why they took that out, because people first-time players are gonna go around this way, and they're gonna completely miss the note. The note was originally put in the game to kind of give people a direction and kind of give them a hint as to where to do. That's like the note was put in like very last minute. Like it was like 11th hour sort of thing. They're like, okay, we need to put people in the right direction. What can we do? We can write a note that kind of gives them a clue to another solution that will give them the clue to the core solution. To a core solution. To kind of get them on the right put them on the right path. So yeah. So the note said enter the number of markers into the dimensional imager. So that was 8. That made the same noise as all the others. Usually it would make a different noise in the other games. It'd make like it kind of start with the same noise and then add on a few more buttons. So we push here.
Catherine, my love, I have to leave quickly. Something terrible has happened. It's hard for me to believe. Most of my books have been destroyed. Catherine, that's one of our sons. I suspect Agamemnon, but I shouldn't leap to conclusions. I'll find him and Cirrus as well. Oh, I should have known better than to have left my library unchecked for so long. Well, I've removed the remaining undamaged books from the library and placed them in their places of protection. You shouldn't have to use the books until I return, but if you've forgotten the access keys, remember the tower rotation. Oh, and don't worry, Catherine. Everything will be fine. I'll see you shortly. Oh, and erase this message after you've viewed it, just to be safe.
Now, I believe in the original game, if you pushed this 5 times, you could actually erase it.
Catherine, my love, I have to leave quick.
Can you? Nope. I guess you can't do it this time. Was it 5 times or was, I don't remember what they said. You could actually erase it in the original. You don't need to. But yeah, so you may have noticed something there. One, that was the old school F and V. 2, that was Rand Miller, one of the creators of this game, alongside his brother Robin Miller. And I believe he plays Atreus through the entire series. I've seen the guy in interviews recently for people playing through this game, playing through the original game. There's a whole community of people who love this series. And the guy, Rand Miller at the very least. I can't speak for Robin Miller, because I've only seen I think one interview with him. Both seem like pretty cool guys. They seem like pretty cool, pretty laid back guys. But yeah, like I said, Rand Miller voices and plays Atreus. And what you saw there, too, was, like I said, the original FMV. For some reason, I don't know why, when you have the original FMV playing, you don't have the cutscene. The subtitles. So what I'm going to do here real quick, I'm going to actually save here. Because we're going to have to reload anyway. Display. There, we're going to turn classic mode off, which will require us to reload the game. Classic warp, the classic link warp noise. And we're going to push the button and see what it looks like in CG.
Catherine, my love, I have to leave quickly. Something terrible has happened. It's hard for me to believe. Most of my books have been destroyed. Catherine, it's one of our sons. I suspect Achenar. But I shouldn't leap to conclusions.
Yeah, we have cutscenes here.
Find him and Cirrus as well.
Also, I'm just now noticing this is a lot quieter than the actual FMV.
I've removed the remaining undamaged books from the library and placed them in the places of protection. You shouldn't have to use the books until I return, but if you've forgotten, just remember the tower rotation, and don't worry, Catherine. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, it's the same dialogue.
Oh,
I don't know why they
this message
didn't.
after you viewed it just to be safe.
It's the same dialogue. I don't know why they did that. Actually, no. We're gonna go ahead and keep that in because we're gonna see some other cutscenes here in a bit too. Some other FMVs, and we're gonna do some more comparisons. But yeah, so after reading that, we now learn two new names. We have Cirrus and Achenar, Atreus' sons, who one of them seemed to have burned the library. Now, if we go into the library here, we can actually see that most of these books are, well, stone. Yeah. The original game, it looks a lot better, and in fact, it actually kind of ruins one of the puzzles later on. So first of all, you get a, oh, actually, no, there's three. Okay, never mind. So first of all, this book here, this book here, is supposed to look more burnt. It gets a book, yeah. It's a solution for later on. We're not going to worry about that. But the idea that these books are, these books look like they're just stone. They don't look as good. But yeah, so we have different books here. Whoops. Let's see, we have some here that says Channelwood, Stone Ship Age, Selenitic Age of Myst, Mechanical. Yeah. This is one thing I actually do like about this game over the others, is that they give each of these books their own little icon, so it's more recognizable. And then they also have them all written on the back, the name, on the spine, the name of the age or location, as we'll later on learn. Whereas in the original, I think it was only the Selenitic age. Which, fun fact, selenitic? I used to think it was called selentic. I didn't see the I. But yeah. We'll look at these in a second. Or rather, we'll look at one of them in a second. Actually, we'll probably look at that in the next episode. But for now, let's go ahead and look at our first cutscene here. So once you grab this page, it's going to get sucked right into that book. Yeah. That's weird. Just kind of, the book just ate that page. Oh, well, let's open up and see what's in.
You must help me. Bring me a red page. I can't see. Need a red page. You must. Please bring me. Beg of you, bring page. Help me. I'm serious.
Well, now we know we're not serious. Like I said, we're probably not Catherine. We're definitely not Atreus.
There's one thing I know to be rescued. You must.
Well, that's the end of that message. And now, let's see what it used to look like. Let's play classic video mode. Fun fact too about the classic video mode, this was added in shortly after the game launched because people demanded it. Just keep that in mind. People demanded they wanted to see the original. So yeah, just show you that it's not going to work until we reload. Yeah, there we go. And we just kind of close the book to ignore them. So we're going to go ahead and reload. Fortunately, it doesn't take too long to load. Come to think of it, I probably should have... Nah, no. Probably should have put this on my SSD so it would load faster. But here's what the original looks like.
Bring me a red page.
Bring me a
I can't see. I need a red page. You must.
They seem more expressive.
Beg, bring. I am serious. Give it up.
I will say it is a little harder to hear this one because the stack is a lot louder.
There's one thing I know to be rescued.
I do wish they had a crouch here. So yeah, I do wish they had like a crouch mode so you could actually see it better. But yeah, as you can see, we can kind of touch the book, but we can't really warp into it like we could before. If we look over here, we're going to go ahead and say real quick. And real quick, also, before we... so first of all, I'm going to go ahead and show you this one, the CG version, because I like this one, the original version of this one, a lot better. Also, I believe the actor is also Rand Miller, so I like the acting in this one better as real life than I do the CG model. And also, I like the way the character looks. So yeah, I'm gonna suck up that page. And real quick, while we're at it, I want to go ahead and show you something that's kind of cool here. I'm gonna bring up my webcam here, and I'm going to show you my Razer Tartarus Chroma keypad here. As I open this up,
Serious? Stop. You. Seal? Miss Mackinac. They kept me. Bring me pages. Forever and ever. Pages. Have the blue pages.
nope.
To me.
Anyway, so as you know, the Tartarus gamepad actually flickers the same to match with the color of the blue. It also does this with the red. Let me go ahead and show you real quick the red. See, it's flickering. It's a little hard to see because like how the lighting's working, but it's flickering from like red, light red to and like white very briefly. But like flickers to try to keep up with the the thing on there. So anyway, now that we've met Akinar, we can safely assume that we're probably not any of the characters that we've heard before. We're probably just us. So we're going to go back to classic mode, and we're going to see who is easily my favorite character here. You'll see why. If you weren't impressed with his CG double, the CG stunt double, you'll be impressed after this. Or at least I hope you will. So yeah, that's there we go. Once we get control. Also, if you hear any rumbling in the background, let me go ahead and turn my webcam off real quick. If you hear any rumbling in the background, this game has vibration for your controller, and my PlayStation controller is plugged in. I'm using mouse and keyboard. I tried using the controller for this. Mouse and keyboard game. You people playing this on Xbox One, I feel so sorry for you guys, but this is a mouse and keyboard game. Get real Myst on the Switch. I'm sure it has gyroscopic control, so that would, I don't know for certain, but get it on the Switch and don't buy the limited run version at $124. Oh. It's so expensive for a physical copy. Anyway, so let's go ahead and see Akinar.
Monsieur?
Already. So much better.
Are you? See you. Not. Help me. Bring me blue pages.
Wait. Oh my god.
Never, never. Pages. I must have the blue page.
The blue pages. That's the way he says that.
Bring them to me.
So yeah. In addition to that, I also like the static effect they have way better than they do in the CG version. The CG version is like, it's just cloudy and stuff, and so it's not as good. But yeah. So, we aren't 100% done exploring yet. We still have this over here that we looked at, and as you can see, as we turned on more of the markers, it adds on more of stuff for the island. So this looks like it's got some sort of line here. If we click and hold, we can actually turn it. Oh, look. Okay, there we go. I tried turning it too fast. Nothing happened when you put it over. Oh. We got red over by what looks like... Oh! That's interesting. So when it flashes red, it must mean we can activate something. So that's a dock. So that's over by the ship. If we move it over by the gear... Oh, interesting. Also, if you look at here how the gear is, that's more closer to how it is in the original version. I mentioned earlier the gear had the 2 gears. So by the tree, interesting again. And then we have spaceship. Very, very interesting. So it sounds like something's changing. Now, in the original, this painting was still here, but at the bottom you see tower rotation. And then instead of this being here, you just saw like a line out of the tower with the line as well. You were supposed to like click and hold, move on its own. They changed it to dial, which I have to agree that's kind of a right choice to make it into a dial, because first time players aren't going to know what the tower rotation is or even know that you can turn that. And it does make sense. And if you look way up there, you can actually see the tower has a bit of a interesting slit in it now, pointing towards the boat. But we don't really have a way to get in there. Well, we'll figure out how to get in there, and we'll also figure out what the boat is and what all this other stuff is. We'll get our journey started properly in the next episode. Until then, I'll see you guys later.